Hi, folks. It's Dr. Christine here, and I'm here with Gerry Daniel and the beautiful Sharron Elizabeth. And we decided to start something, the High-Level Wellness Business Show. Gerry, why don't you start and tell us what we are doing here?
Yeah, right. The high level wellness business show, right? It's we're talking business strategy, we're talking structure, we're talking systems, we're talking about all the things that are needed to build a successful wellness business. All the things we've learned over many years of struggling and trying, and we just keep going. Well, between Christine, myself, and Sharron, we've come together and brought all our knowledge and gifts together so we can work through this. And we want to show you out there that are having the same challenges, how we've worked through them, what works, what doesn't work, and how we can make this journey a little smoother and easier for you. So thank you for being here, and I'm excited for what's coming.
How about yourself, Sharon? I know you shared earlier that you didn't feel that great when you got up this morning. We all do
When I
sometimes.
when I reflect on how long I've been in business, I've done home-based businesses. I opened up a flower shop, an internet cafe, and I didn't know what I knew then, what I know now, and I still have more to learn. But it's implementing the things that you do learn instead of just operating out of survival mode. So when you have, there was nobody in my world at the time that I could go to and get, a website, funnel, landing page, the support, the, means to, um, keep my bookkeeping straight, or, nobody guided me in telling me what it is that I should do to focus on what it is that I do well in, and then allow everybody else to play their part, pass it off to the experts. So, not realizing, I know in the past 5 years, I invested a lot in myself. If I had done the same and learned how to balance to invest in myself and my business, I think I would be in a different position right now. I do see how things are growing and changing. And um, I know with the start of a new wellness business and movement, this is much needed, and people are going to benefit from this. I know I will.
I always said the most that we learn is when we do and teach something, because we all learn going through our life. Well, there's people that never learn. Yeah, we call them politicians, but that's beside the point. But there's people that don't want to learn. But most of us learn as we go through life. We do, and then we reach out and share or teach what we learned with others. And then, of course, when you're watching that, you're free to watch that and say, oh, that's bullcrap. I don't want to do it. Or you can say, well, that makes sense. Let me contact them and see if I can get some support. Because, of course, at the AI Wellness Universe, in case you don't know it, we operate as a nonprofit, so you get the lowest prices ever. But that besides the point, we really want to help you people. And today we wanted to share videos of other entrepreneurs that made it. At least they say they do, and likely they did, because he has 10 days of hour-long videos with Highlevel. It's a CRM and complete business system that we use and we share with our wellness entrepreneurs. And it is extremely complicated. And to be honest, I struggle every day, and I know Gerry does, and probably Sharon too, right?
And you know what? It's true. What I was, Gerry was sharing with me earlier was being vulnerable, because
Mhm.
nobody, I think, and I've lived with a mask my whole life. Right from the first day you go to school and you're crying and you have to, show up in a room with a pile of strangers and, put that mask on. I was even saying that to my daughter. How many times do you, in a run of a day, do you switch rooms, and then in every room you have a different mask? So it's at the point now where you're tired of not being authentic about about your challenges and how you choose to seek for the solutions to move forward. So if you have a supported community, just like the one that we're creating, it takes a lot to open up and say, I need help, or I need that guidance or support today, because today it's just been just a day where you're just finding it hard to lift yourself. And so, if you wake up every day knowing that you have support, I think that's half the battle. And half the battle too, the other half is accepting it, or admitting that you need help. So if you have a community, if you can find a community like that, and we're not saying necessarily that you have to be a part of this community, but if I weren't, and had the encouragement and friendship that I've created with you guys, I don't know if I would be where I am. I know where it's going to take us,
Oh yeah.
but
No,
it's
that
a
was excellent,
process.
Sharon. I love what you
Yeah.
said there. I mean, community is so important. I wish I would have had this 5 years ago when I first started this journey. I left the corporate world um, after many, many years, and I kind of had to reinvent myself, and I didn't know what I was going to do. First thing I did was focus on myself first. I had to fix myself because I was pretty broken after 35 years in corporate America. I mean, it's highly toxic, it's highly competitive, and you're always grinding. You're grinding so much that you don't even um, realize that you're neglecting your health. Maybe that was my experience. I was neglecting my health, and that's really what got me into wellness and and improving the way I felt because after I was able to decompress from that world, I started realizing all these symptoms that I didn't even know I had. I became numb and blind to what was going on within my own life because I was so disconnected. And it felt great to put that all behind me and move forward, but it took a long time to build myself back up and really learn who I was and connect with myself again because I was disconnected and having a community of people that understand what you're going through because they can relate, they're doing the same thing. And so many of us are. And then just being able to talk to people and be real and open and honest and transparent. I'm an open book. I have, nothing to hide. And I show the realness of life. A lot of times on social media, people show only the good stuff, right? And it looks like they're living their best life. We're not seeing behind the scenes when they're melting down or having challenges. Nobody shows that. And I love that we can just get on here and be ourselves and talk openly because I think people need to see that. That's what they can relate to. They can relate to the real stuff, not just the good times, because the good times sometimes seem like they're few and far between. But it depends on what you're looking for. I think you're always going to find what you're looking for. So I try to focus my energy on the positivity and just enjoying every moment. I mean, it's so important. There's so much beauty around us if we look for it. So
Yeah.
I love what we're doing here, and I hope that we can continue to grow this community far and wide because I think it's important. And people that are trying to um, become an entrepreneur and do things on their own, it's hard. You're by yourself. You're on an island. You need community. So that's what we're doing here. And everybody brings their special gifts to the table and the authenticity of their real being, and that's what I love about everything that's going on here in the AI wellness universe with you, Sharon, and Christine. We have a great core group. We have so many members that have been with us since the very beginning, and they're all showing up and they're doing the same thing. We're all working together and we'll all rise together. And that's the beauty of it, I think.
That's a great share. That's a great share.
We're, I'm
I know that we are, nothing gets wasted. I know looking at my journey in the past 5 years, I've done the corporate stuff. And when I came out of that and I realized, like you said, you weren't focusing on your health. So it is a learning curve. I don't believe we're broken. I feel that we're learning. So we take those pieces and we just rearrange the puzzle to make it look, more presentable, make sense. But I think the thing is for myself is to be vulnerable and, this is where I am. I'm starting over. But it's in a community where everybody else feels that they're going through the same, but feelings aren't facts. We're right where we're meant to be for our own soul's journey. It's just humbling yourself to say, okay, I can't do this by myself. I don't want to do this by myself. Who out there can help me? And I've made beautiful connections along the way. And Christine has probably seen me at my worst days and talked me through how to feel safe in my body through self-havening practices, but just being that anchor and that space so that we can freely express. And I think that's important when you find a space that you can be yourself and be uniquely you and show up in a way how we uniquely create and what we want to bring and how we want to show up in the world. So I think safety is probably one of the biggest things for me, is feeling safe in an environment where I can do that. And you guys do provide that. And I feel blessed to be able to collaborate to do that with you. I appreciate you guys so much.
A topic that I've worked on for many, many years comes to mind, and that is gratitude and appreciation. And I want to say that, Gerry, I'm grateful for you. Sharron, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for everybody that listens to it now and for the whole community. And I'm grateful for all the failures and hardship that I experience and have experienced, and all the mistakes I made, and I made many of them. And I know when I was younger, I thought, oh, I'm the greatest. I can do it all. I'm on top of the world. I'm perfect. And then I went bankrupt and I saw what happened here. I had those expensive business coaches. I spent $100,000 and crickets. Yeah, because when you come over as somebody that's perfect, nobody wants to work with you because they feel inferior. And I have a very good talent to make other people feel inferior. And that's sometimes Alice Miller wrote a good book, The Drama of the Gifted Child, which is true. When somebody knows a lot, it's hard to shut up. And I still
Mm.
learning how to shut up. And that's why everybody has the opportunity to shut me up and say, hey, I'm talking now. And I needed to learn and the slow way to listen and to be more empathetic. I mean, I'm very fast, too fast.
You know what? It's learning how to receive.
Mm, yeah.
I think that's what kind of made me jittery and why I'm feeling different today, because I know I'm stepping into something good. So the mind tries to talk it out and stay in the comfortable discomfort instead of saying, okay, let's recognize this. This is where I am. I have people here. And it's a soul-led journey, not better memories from the past, because we take that and we use it as a toolbox. We learn from it and we just take from what it is that we need to apply in the situation and then choose to react differently. Um, the amount of money that somebody has in their bank account doesn't define them. Certainly doesn't define me. I'm not worthless because I don't have much in my account.
I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it there. I think what you're experiencing is growing pains. When you're
100%.
vulnerable, you're growing out of that. So, there is going to be some discomfort there, right? It's just growing pains. People have them when they're young and they're growing so fast. You get growing pains. Well, that's, there's different ways to feel those growing pains. But it's a good thing because that means growth is happening.
Yeah. And you
And
know what? I feel that we can be, I think authenticity is probably, we can say we're raising our vibration and learning how to do better. But if we can be authentic and vulnerable, I think that that's the truest, purest form, because we all have shadows, we all have light. And when people are authentic and they vulnerably share, I think it hits the hearts of those who are struggling to say, you know what, I see you, I support you, and I'm learning too. And it encourages other people to want to share their journey. Oh my God, have I got a story for you? I went through the same thing when I had somebody belittle me in front of my coworkers. And this is how I handled the situation, and I stood up for myself to build confidence, but I did it in a respectful way. It doesn't always have to be um, looked at as a challenge, but to, like Christine said, to have gratitude. I had a very traumatic thing that happened this past week with a friend of mine, and it was sobering to watch, but it reminded me of how I pulled through a similar situation and how it didn't dim my light, but I grew from it. And so when people share that, you want to jump in and say, you know what, I went through a similar experience, and this is how I got through it. So if we're open, that's that giving and receiving. And I've always been the giver. I've always tried to be the fixer, savior complex type of thing.
Yeah.
You output too much, you end up, and to even be an entrepreneur, you got to have the support, ducks in a row, listen to what, people who are successful are doing so that we can learn from it. But we get to reshape it and
Yeah.
resculpt it in our own unique way. I know you guys are helping myself and my partner with White Light Wellness and are collaborating with us. I do need to learn. This is a different way of being. There's a lot of people out there that are just going the mainstream way, and they don't know any alternative way. So, to come out and step out and say, okay, guys, this is something new. We're coming from a place of, listen, we all have been at rock bottom. We went through the dark night of the soul, but look how we supported and helped each other through. Like that to me it's a huge gift.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, how about learning a little bit about the entrepreneurial mindset from
Yes.
somebody that made it? Actually, a young man that is a high-level successful entrepreneur. Okay, to share?
Let's do it.
Yes,
I'll
let's check
share
it
the
out.
screen.
Do it.
Let me find the video. Here it is on YouTube. Let me put in, I want to see if I can just share a portion on the screen, share the sound, because Zoom allows me to. Here we go. Look at that. Can you see that?
Yes, it's
Young man
there.
is talking. Day one of 10K in 10 days workshop. How does that sound? 10K in 10 days? Is that even possible? The truth
Well,
is
let's check it out
this.
and see what he has to say.
Well, it's
I
only
mean,
possible if you don't start at zero, right? All right,
high
let's.
level is such a robust system. I love it. I mean, there's so much there, but it does make it real very complex, right? So
Whew.
it's definitely something that's worth checking out for sure.
I listened to about a third of this video yesterday evening, and I was deeply impressed because he does not start with technology. Just watch what he starts with, what made all the difference. Let's listen in.
We're
All
going to go
right.
to some growth strategies and kind of really, really help you understand what this whole game of agency is all about. And let's get started, guys. If we can get as many ones as we possibly can.
I love the
I'm
engagement. So
I know
I
you
think we
do.
broke
So
1,000 comments on my last live, which is crazy. But
awesome.
guys, who does it? Drop a 2 if you don't know me.
I don't know
You
you.
don't know me. Drop a 2 if you. Okay, there's
Two.
a few 2s. Cool. So I don't have time for an introduction today, so I'm going to make it super, super, super quick. And what you can also do is check out the last live that Paulson and I did, where we did a whole introduction. We explained why we're doing this. But jumping right to it, like Paulson, if you had to give a 60-second introduction about me, and then we'll jump right in, what would you say?
In less than a short amount of time.
60 seconds, yeah.
In a short amount of time, I know Joel and his partner Marco scaled at least 3 agencies to 300K monthly revenue.
Scaled
It's
one. And we scaled other ones to other revenue marks. We
Gotcha.
scaled one to 50K in 60 days. We have some other pretty big numbers, but the main one does over 300K a month. The main one.
Right. So to me, it's somebody that we've got to listen to when it comes to sales and prospecting and systems and things like that. And that's why I'm excited to bring Joel in. But yeah, Joel, go right ahead, buddy.
Awesome. Well, for those of you guys that don't know me, I scaled an agency in the past 3 years to over 200 clients. And after scaling so quickly and so efficiently, I started getting asked by so many people to coach them on scaling their agencies. And over the past, I'd say 2 years now, we launched a program which has created a ton of 7-figure agencies. It's created an even bigger number of 6-figure agencies. And Paulson reached out to me about a month ago and was like, Joel, what if we could take everything that you normally teach and do a workshop, a 10-day workshop, sharing how you would scale an agency to 10K, $10,000 as quickly as possible using Highlevel. And over the next 10 days, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. And here we go. So guys, we're officially live for the How to Scale an Agency to 10K 10-day workshop. And my goal over the next 10 days is to give you the roadmap to building an agency to $10,000. Now, if you're excited, if you're ready to go, drop a 1 below and let's dive in. Now,
I just want to say it's not just for agencies. It's also if you're a business owner. Just imagine you're an agency, same thing. You can build it too. We are an agency. We can give you a sub account with all the tools. But that's not the critical thing. Just listen to him. He's like quite interesting young man.
Before I actually get into the content, I do want to draw a really important warning. And it's going to sound a little dull and it's going to sound a little harsh, but I think it's really, really important, especially because there's a lot of people in this game that promise big results. They promise a big game and they can't back it up. And one of the reasons why is because they set false expectations and they lead you to believe that it's going to be easier than it actually is. So I do want to give you guys a warning, and I do this because it is my moral duty to give you guys what you want to hear, what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And again, in this space, there's so many other coaches that tell you what you want to hear because it's so much easier to get you to take out your credit card. But if you really care about your own results, and if I really care about your own results, I have to share with you what you actually need to hear to get to 10K with your agency. So with that in mind, it does take a lot of time. So for example, I ran my first ever Google ad campaign for my family's wedding venue 10 years ago. So even if I started my marketing agency 3 years ago, at that point, I already had 7 years of experience running advertisements for a local business. And it's easy to see the success that I've had in 3 years and ignore the fact that I've been at this game for over 10 years. What you guys also don't see is that this is my third business. My agency was the third business I had ever launched. And you don't see all the time that I had invested into other businesses prior. So you have to keep in mind, when you see people claim these crazy results, you have to always see the other side. Because often it's never just the result. There's always a lot of time, dedication, and sacrifice that went into it to be able to accomplish those sorts of numbers so quickly. It also takes a lot of hard work. For example, I had someone reach out to me today, and I'm not going to share the conversation, but they were like, do I have to work if I sign up for your program? And I said, what? What do you mean? Of course you have to work. If I could wire transfer you guys 10K, trust me, I would, but that doesn't exist. And anyone that tells you otherwise doesn't actually care about you and doesn't care about getting you the best results humanly possible. So it does take a lot of hard work. And by the way, Paulson, I don't know if you hear this, but every time someone joins, I get a little ding.
Yeah, that's because we're both hosts, but nobody else can hear that.
Okay, it's like
Just
super
so
hard to concentrate.
I
Ding,
know.
ding.
I've got literally people trickling in every 5 seconds. I've had at least 20 people join in the last 2 minutes, and I'm like, oh man. So
Guys, the
anytime you
past 5 minutes, I've just been hearing ding, ding every time.
Yeah,
uh,
I think it's my Zoom setting and I don't know how to turn it off, but just bear with me. I think after a while we'll kind of coast into the content. But yeah,
cool.
people are going to be jumping in just so you know. And as soon as you jump in, guys, just go ahead and mute yourself, put your comments and all those things in the chat. We're going to go through it as much as we can at the end of the conversations, okay? And
Love
remember,
it.
we're not gonna go through the entire content in day one. Remember that. I know y'all are eager, but there's gonna be a pace to this. There's a lot of work here. Go ahead.
Yep. So guys, takes a lot of hard work. I used to work at a 9 to 5, and I would go home after working from 9 to 5, and I would work from 6 to midnight, week after week after week after week. And I really believe in this idea when you're just starting out in 9 to 9 days, like that's just what it takes to make it happen. And obviously, I believe in balance. I believe in taking care of yourself. I believe in maintaining good mental, physical, and spiritual health along the journey. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It requires a lot of hard work. And a lot of the people that you see succeeding, it did not happen overnight. They put their blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen. Also, everyone starts off at a different point. You have to keep in mind, if you've been in sales for the past 10 years, even though you've never ran a marketing agency, if you start a marketing agency, it's going to be so much easier for you to get to 10K compared to someone that's never been in a client-facing role ever in their entire life. So when we talk about scaling to 10K, you have to also be self-aware of where you're at in the journey, and you also can't judge yourself based on where you're at in the journey. You have to respect and honor and humble yourself to your position and who you are and where you're at. For example, by the time I started my agency, like I said, I had already been running Google Ads for 7 years. I had already started 2 other businesses, and I had been in a client-facing role since my first business at the age of 18, where I DJ'd for I DJ'd weddings. That's what I did. That was my first ever business, just because my parents own a wedding venue. It made perfect sense. And the point is, I had been managing clients, managing expectations, doing sales for years, even though I only started my agency 3 years ago. So you have to be really aware of where you're at in the journey and know that even if you don't hit 10K as fast as someone else, doesn't mean that you can't do it. It doesn't mean that it's so much harder for you. You might just be at a different level in your life, and you might just be at a different time. So it's just really important to be aware of that. I will also say this, not everyone is going to make it at a certain point in time. Like I said, it might take longer for you. It might be faster for you. And the last thing I'll say is that if you're starting out from absolute scratch, going from 0 to 1 is the absolute hardest. Going from 1K to 10K is so much easier than going from 0 to 1K. Going from 10K to 100K is so much easier than going from 0 to 1, because to go from 0 to 1 requires so much leveling up in terms of your character and in terms of your skills that you don't have to do once you're past that initial road bump. So the reason I'm starting off with this, guys, is because these are the things that no one else tells you in this space. And they tell you it's going to be easy, and they tell you, oh, these are my 3 simple steps to 10K. But you know what, guys? That's BS. And they're setting you up to fail, because the moment you don't get quick results, you're going to start questioning yourself. You're going to start questioning your abilities, and you're going to want to give up. And it's really important to see the bigger picture so that you stay committed to the journey long enough to actually see results.
Okay, let's interrupt that for a little bit. What do you think of him so far? I think he is astonishingly honest.
Oh, he's
Oh yeah, I mean he's spot on for sure. I
mm,
mean, how relatable is everything he said? It was just so perfect. I like it a lot.
I think when you act on your highest passion, um, and you're doing what you feel it's right in every moment, it takes a while. Like I said, he went from, working one job and then so it's learning that balance. And I know, it doesn't have to be 24/7. But in order to build a foundation, see, I look at it this way. If it's something that you enjoy doing, it's not going to feel like work. I know you have to put in the hours. Um, we're going to live out the hours anyway, but are you enjoying what you're doing?
I think that's a good
Right.
point, Sharon. But on the other hand, we also have to think about that when we do go out and talk to people, and we have to do that to make what they call sales or marketing or get business or help other people see the benefits of what we can do for them. It's the same words. But if we actually do that, there's a lot of people that say no, or that say F off, or even just say, I want to never see your ugly face again. And it hurts. It's called rejection. It hurts. There's no question about it.
Yep.
There's actually a space in the brain, and I can say that I researched that as a brain scientist, because it is a physical sensation in the brain similar to physical pain. You can see that in an MRI when somebody gets rejected in a sales situation. It is
Yes.
similar to physical pain. It is actually hurting. And everybody that goes out and tries to offer a product that they are convinced for it's good. And if you're not convinced your product is good, get out of and do something else, please. Never ever sell something that's garbage, right? It's just not honest. But if you have something really great, and we all have great products, the AI Wellness Easy Eye system is great. What you're offering, Sharon, the Solex scan and all the oils and whatever, and the products and the healing ceremonies, that's all great. But the problem is if people don't recognize it, and even if we go out there and just talk to people, 9 out of 10 will say, no, hell no, I don't want it. Leave me alone. I have no money. And there's all kinds of what we call objections. And sometimes they can be overcome, and sometimes it's a real no. How do you know the difference? And that's what is hard to discern sometimes, right?
Yeah, I think that makes, it's the one thing about rejection for me and the way I like to look at it is what I'm doing and what I'm saying isn't for everybody. It's for a specific group. So sometimes it's going to get to come across somebody that it wasn't meant for. And that's all that rejection is. It's like, okay, it wasn't for this person. And a no isn't always a no. It's a not yet. They're not ready yet. Maybe they don't know enough yet. And that's where um, we deal with those types of objections, or it's a lot of times these objections, you can overcome these objections. Sometimes you can't. And when you can, it's because it wasn't the right fit. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, we want a good fit for what we're working. It needs to be mutually beneficial for both parties, right?
And I know when I first started, you're completely right, as a wellness entrepreneur. And I had a connection call and I offered a product, and I know it was a great product, and I know it would really help the person. And they still said no. I felt personally rejected and hurt. They rejected me, and that's just not true. So it's very important for us to learn to say, okay, when they say no, they don't say no to you because they don't really know you. They say no to the product, to themselves, to the opportunity that you put in front of them. Has nothing to do with yourself. They don't know you. They're not your friends or family.
And they
And
might
any
just not be ready at the time. So it
right.
might be a seed plant. They may come back. I know through a couple of the products that I support or advocate for, um, 5 years later, have people coming back and,
Yeah,
and asking
same
about it,
thing.
right? Yeah.
If you have a decent product that really helps people with the problem they have, they will at some point come back when they're ready to it. And I've seen that too. And suddenly there was a call on my calendar and they said, I want to buy now. And I said, okay. And before I thought it's a lost sale, they disappeared for months. And I said, okay. They decided to work with somebody else. And then they came back and said, well, I looked at somebody else and I spent some money on somebody else. And uh, would you take me back? See, and that's got, and it doesn't happen always. So it's important to let that go. Letting Go is a great book by David Hawkins. I recommend it. It's very important to let that ego attachment to
Yeah.
you are not the super salesperson. It's not up to you if somebody buys your product or service. It's up to them. If they don't need it and want it, you can sell anything. And I mean, there's a very stupid saying in sales. If you're a good salesperson, you can sell, say, ice to an Eskimo, right? It's nonsense. And we reframed it. We had some fun with it, Gerry and I. We called it sand in a desert, right? Why would you ever try to offer somebody something they absolutely don't need? If I'm in a desert, why would I buy sand? And Gerry tried very hard to, you want to watch that video, it's really funny, to sell me some kind of colored sand and glistening and special kind. Yeah, of course. And you recognize when you listen to TV advertising, you recognize that. There's nothing new in this universe. We all are people, we all
Right.
have needs. And everybody around you, including you and me, have a limited amount of funds and money and time to buy things. And the truth is, nobody wants to be sold, but everybody loves to go shopping, right? Who doesn't like to go to Walmart or big shopping center and look around? Oh, this dress would look good on you. And that's sales. You sell your friends when you say, oh, that would look on you, that dress. They're sold on that dress. And I think we see sales as a completely wrong term. And Gary's writing a book about it. I can't wait to read it, Soulful Selling, because that's really the heart of it.
Love that.
Sell with heart and not force anybody. It's impossible anyway, unless you physically hold them down and mandate it, right? We all experience that. It happens, but it's not a good thing to happen. But
Yeah, I think it sales needs to come from a place of service because we're trying to serve others, especially in the wellness community. We're trying to help others improve their quality of life. And we're providing a solution, right? They have a pain point,
Yes.
a struggle, and they're looking for a solution, and we're providing that solution. I can help you with this. Bam. And that's the key. It's not for everybody. You're not trying to push it on everybody. It's like we want it to fit and be a good fit. And that's how I try to approach it from a place of service. How can I help you today? Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, many of us start in network marketing, and there's nothing bad about a legal network marketing business. On the contrary, it can help you get great connections over time. And many of them have great products, and some of them are not even overpriced and they are not available anywhere else. So I'm a big proponent of that kind of a business if done correctly. And that's part of what Gary and I and Sharron want to teach you, how to do it the right way, because people don't want to buy a product. People want to buy a solution to a problem that keeps them up at night. And it
Right.
took me a long, long time to pull my head around it. Although when I was a physician in Germany, I instinctively did it because how does a doctor approach a patient, right? He doesn't say, oh, I see your face. You need this product. You need this medication. No, that doesn't work. A doctor needs to make a diagnosis, and to make a diagnosis, they need to ask questions first. They need to know what could it be? What else could it be? What else would be a product or service that would be helpful? What is the reason that that person doesn't feel well? And what are different options to help them? And then the last choice is always or should be at the patient or the buyer. Same thing. What a
Mhm.
doctor does is nothing else but sell something. Like if I have a belly pain and the doctor tells me, well, the only way your belly pain goes away because
Yeah.
I diagnosed you as appendicitis. If you don't want to die, here's my suggestion. My sale would be a surgery. Do you want to buy it? Right? And then the patient says, well, what's my alternatives? Well, either says the doctor, you can buy the surgery and have a very high likelihood to go on living, or you'll die. What do you want? then it's your choice. It's a very difficult choice, right? And there's a very responsibility behind it because you can die in either case, but it's very unlikely when you have the surgery if it's appendicitis. But on the other hand, years ago, the choice was much harder. Easier these days and harder, there's more choice. But in principle, it's the same thing. When a doctor sees a patient, they sell them something. And that's a good sale if it is for the benefit of the patient and the doctor. And that's the same thing when we offer something to a client, a prospect. The only way it is a good sale is when it's a win-win situation. It's a big benefit for the client or prospect, and it's also beneficial for the seller because if only one person gives, it's a mismatch.
That's right. Yes, I think it's important to, you want people to feel good after they buy something from you. You never want them to have buyer's remorse. And you can get that if you are pushy and misleading and you're trying to do all those tactics that are widely used out there in the business world. And that's why we take a different approach. We really want to connect with our members and clients and people that want to know more about what we're doing. We want to connect, we want to get to know them and kind of see where they need help and where we can help them the best. And I think that's important. Investing the time in the people that you're working with and giving them your time to really come up with the best solution, not a better solution, but the actual best solution for them. And then that leaves them feeling good. People remember how you make them feel. So you want to leave people feeling good after connecting and interacting with you. I think that's highly important.
Yeah. And we all are still learning. And I'm grateful we have
Yes.
Sharron in the team because Sharron is so good in connecting. My mouth is salivating when I see how you connect with your people. I can't do that. When you do a Facebook Live and just talk about driving along in your car, people listen to you because you are emotionally connecting on a deeper level. And that's why you are so good as a spiritual healer. And I've experienced that, and it's very beneficial. And if you want to experience Sharron, well, let us know. There's comments around that video. There will be links. Feel free to use them and connect with her, with us, whoever you are interested in, because we do want to get feedback. We do want to get to know you too, because we love people, right? We love people first. We are a technology company, but I always say we love people first. We love technology second. And when we can mix it, then I'm really happy, right?
I think people are definitely emotionally driven when
Yeah.
it comes off, when they make decisions. It's based off of an emotion. And obviously, if it's something that feels aligned and feels good, then you would move forward with it. But I know I haven't always been emotionally mature, and that takes a while, so
I think
yeah.
we will never be really emotionally mature, whatever that means. To be honest, I don't know what that means.
This
And when I listen to my husband,
well,
look at him rolling his eyes when I say something, I think I'm not emotionally mature at all. I got upset
I
again.
think it's I looked at for me it was looking to other people to make me feel safe,
Mhm,
secure, loved, validated.
mhm.
So when you take radical responsibility and learn how to give it to yourself, it takes the pressure off yourself because you're not pressuring other people
Right.
to fill that cup for you, right?
In the end, nobody else can make you feel good. But on the other hand, we need a connection with other humans and
Mm.
divine. And as many of us that listening here know, we are purpose-driven wellness business. We have a deep-rooted spiritual connection based on Christian values, and we believe in that, and we live it every day, and we fail every day, and that's why we need forgiveness, just like every human really does.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that. And I think, talking about failure is important because people get so devastated by failure. But I don't think that's right. I think you should embrace it because it's part of the journey. Nobody makes it to success without failures. So you're getting that much closer with each failure. And the key is just to keep going. And you're going to have those moments, and they're learning moments. That's growth right there.
Mhm.
Each time you get up, you're a little stronger. And
So,
that's
Gerry,
the
I think
key.
we have to have a little break because we all need a little body break, right, Sharon? I just heard you. So let's have a body. I love what Gerry calls body break. Let's have a
Yeah.
body break. I'll stop the Zoom when we come back. We all had a chance to drink something and do the opposite too. Okay, folks, we're back, and the body break made me warm, and I put my t-shirt on. Life is short. Do stuff that matters. I only can recommend it. It's true. I got that
So
on the
true.
TIPS conference from Danny Iney, who is a quite famous business coach who got a lot of my money for not helping me. But that's beside the point. It was my fault, which often is the case because many people, when they get support or even pay for support, they do not implement, they don't follow through, they don't do the actions, the micro actions, as Gerry always say, every day until they have somebody whipping them up. And the best person to whip you into action is yourself.
Mhm. And I guess and what motivates people are different things as well. So yeah.
You all need motivation, and it doesn't have to be that you are too short on money, but that's often a good motivator. If you want food for your family, you do pretty much everything. And that's why many scam artists do what they do, because sometimes their families are really hungry. They do whatever it takes. And that's sad. But there's, of course, evil people out there too. But for us,
Mm.
it's mostly we really want to help people. We want to make a positive impact. That's exactly the reason why Gerry and I decided to join B1G1, the company that gives back. So every time our subscription for our Easy Eye system renews, we give back to children in the third world and give them drinking water, water to drink, and the whole family. And as our business expands, and I hope it will, with God's and your help, we will, of course, expand that and maybe be able to drill a well and stuff like that, because we really want to make a difference, a positive difference, not just for you, our members and our friends and family, but maybe we can reach out and make a bigger difference. That's long-term goal, right? Little tiny baby steps, one step ahead of the other, but in the right direction.
That's
Let's
right.
watch it.
Inch by inch.
Yeah,
Yes.
inch by inch. I'm so grateful for you all. Um, let's watch a little bit more of that young entrepreneur here.
So, with that in mind, I will say it is absolutely so worth it, no matter where you're at. It is absolutely so worth it to commit and to go all in, because it is a dedication to leveling up who you are, and it is a dedication to leveling up your life and being able to impact everyone around you on this journey. So I know that's kind of dark and probably not the best message that you guys want to hear, but it's really important. And I did want to just start off before we go into any content with that really important warning. Now, if you're ready for more fun stuff and you're ready to dive into the actual content, drop a 1 below, show some love, and let's keep going. So over the next 10 days, this is what we're going to cover. Today, we're going to talk about the mindset required to go from 0 to 10K. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to pick the perfect niche. Day 3, we're going to talk about offer creation. Day 4, we're going to talk about building your prospecting lists. Day 5, we're going to talk about organic prospecting. Day 6, we're going to talk about paid ads prospecting. Day 7, we're going to talk about intro call. Day 8, demo call. Day 9, client results. And then day 10, going beyond 10K. Now, when I first...
That's pretty amazing. Everything you need to know to be a successful entrepreneur is out there, and it's available for free. And we are streaming it now to you, and we are telling you it's true. You just have to do it. That's the hardest part, right?
Yeah, I think that's so important that you mentioned that. Everything is out there. You have access to all the information um, that's out there. I mean, there's a huge database is filled with information that you can tap into. So, getting the answers to your questions is huge. And I like this um, layout he has here. It really makes a lot of sense. And these are really the necessary steps, right? We actually do, I think, these couple of these steps on our um, business growth strategy call, right? We do some of
Yeah.
those steps for you, which is pretty cool, like niche selection and offer creation and ideal client profile, your avatar, which is huge. So I think that's pretty cool. A lot of
Yeah,
alignment.
absolutely. And there will be a link to that business strategy call below because other people pay $500 for what we are giving for a tenth of that, right? And you want that if you want to get where that young man is, and we can help you get there. We won't do it for you, but we can get you there and we can push you and push you, just like we are pushing ourselves and the members in our community to get ahead, to not give up, to know it's possible. You just need to stay the way and stay the walk.
Right. We can do it with you, mention
Mm.
we don't do it for you, but we can do it with you. And
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part. You have somebody there supporting you in your corner, rooting for you and showing you the way, giving you the roadmap. That's big.
And Gerry, you're a very patient and calm teacher. I'm sometimes too fast, too impact, too powerful, too pushy. You're wonderful. When you teach, people listen, and I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
First met up with Paulson to go over this 10-day workshop. He was like, Joel, I want you to give everyone in the high level community specific tactics, strategies. I don't want any fluff. And I promise you guys, I'm going to give you guys the scripts. I'm going to give you guys the ads. I'm going to give you guys the plug and play strategies and tactics to the point that all you're going to have to do is commit to sending the messages out to start getting booked appointments for your agency. With that in mind, we can't give you guys those things unless we tackle mindset for at least one day. And I was like, Paulson, can we please just do one mindset day before we dive into the actual tactics, actual strategies? So for day one, we're going to talk about how to become a 10K human being so that you can actually scale an agency to 10K. And with that in mind,
A quick question for
yeah, go for
everybody,
it.
just so you know. Like when I used to get courses, you know what I would do? I knew the first portions are typically mindset oriented, and I would skip it and go to the meat of the course. And 3 months later, 4 months later, I would have to go back and review those mindset modules in whichever courses, and it will bite me later, right? Joel, can you talk about what that means? Like, is it a good idea to skip over these steps? Where do you see the best students coming out of this when they don't skip the mindset?
I tell people all the time, the hardest part of my job as a coach is not giving you guys the scripts. It's not giving you guys the perfect ad. It's not giving you guys the perfect strategy. Those are all a given. Like you're going to get those. The hardest part of my job is convincing you guys to actually believe in yourselves and to take action. That is the absolute hardest part of my job. I'll give you another example. Paulson and I were talking the other day, and he was like, Joel, your ad strategy to get clients is not that crazy. And I said, you know what? The hardest part about paid ads and teaching you guys paid ads to start getting your own clients is convincing you guys to just run paid ads to get the clients. It's not the ad itself. It's not the lead form walkthrough. It's not the script. It's none of that. The hardest part is actually getting you to believe in yourself to the point where you're willing to invest money that you can lose to be able to turn that money into more money. And go through that cycle of emotional ups and downs at the very beginning when it's not working. Because the very beginning, it's going to require some tweaking before it actually starts to work. So I truly believe that the biggest two things holding most people back from 10K is who they are, their character, and their skills. their ability to communicate, their ability to set up a Facebook ad, all that good stuff. Now, the skills we're going to teach you, what's really hard then becomes you leveling up your character, who you are. And if you don't first start with that, then all of the other stuff is irrelevant. And what I'd like to do today is show you who you need to become as an entrepreneur to be able to then go out and apply your skills and get to 10K. And this is something that I teach my clients all the time. You have to become a 7-figure human being before you can become a 7-figure entrepreneur. And today I want to talk about one step backwards. I want to talk about what it takes to become a 10K human being so that you can go out and become a 10K entrepreneur. So here we go. First things first, a 10K human being takes the first step. A lot of you guys are getting more information and more information and more information. You're learning, you're thinking, you're doing all these things. You're doing everything except taking the first step.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, you guys are watching courses on how to set appointments to get more clients, but then you never send a message to a prospect saying, hey, would you be interested in working together? Or a lot of you guys are out there learning how to get results for clients, but you don't even have a client to begin with. And the analogy that I like to give is you guys are all trying to get good at basketball by watching YouTube videos and never going out in the court and shooting the freaking basketball.
So true.
And
Tough to hear, but true.
this is
Absolutely.
totally normal, by the way. I was like this. A lot of people starting out are like this. And
Yeah.
I really, really want to drive that point home. It's normal for us to do this because all we're doing is protecting ourselves from going out into the world and facing the fear of failure. You know, Robert Kiyosaki talks about this all the time. What's the number one reason people will not go out and be successful is because they're paralyzed by the fear of failure. They're afraid to go out and shoot the basketball and miss. But the reality is if you never take the first step out onto the court and shoot the basketball and then keep shooting, you're never going to get good at basketball no matter how many YouTube videos you watch, how many courses you take, no matter if you hire the best coach in the world for basketball. You guys could hire Phil Jackson, who's one of the greatest coaches of all time. He won 11 NBA championships to help you with your shot. But if you never go out into the court and shoot the ball, there's nothing he could ever tell you to get you better at basketball. So the first point, guys, to become a 10K human being, you have to be willing to take the first step, to set up your ads and potentially fail, to send 10 messages to prospects and potentially fail, to get on the phone and call a few prospects and potentially fail. You have to be willing to take the first step and get out of paralysis by analysis. You also have to be reactive instead of proactive. And this is a really hard lesson to learn because the entire world teaches us to be proactive instead of reactive. The entire world is teaching us to think before we act. It makes sense too, right? It's like logically you're like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I think before I act? But in entrepreneurship, especially when you're starting out, this is advice specifically for people going to 10K with their agency. You have to act, think, and then act again. I don't know who here has read the book Ready, Fire, Aim, or at least heard about it. Drop a 1 if you have. All of you guys are aiming and then you never fire. But you have to fire, then look up, and then aim again. Or for example, in basketball, you have to shoot the ball, feel it in your hands, feel it how it released, and then think, okay, well, what could I have done better next time? I shot it way too much to the right. Let me move it to the left a little bit. Or, wow, I just threw the ball at the backboard. That was awful. Let me just go a little easier.
Joel,
most,
can I make a confession real quick on this?
please,
When I first
I
started
can't
off,
stop you,
No, but feel free to stop me because I don't want to take you away from your flow. But I remember when I first started off, I found myself working at home. Nobody else was home. My wife was at work, nobody else was around. And I'm like, oh, I've got to be self disciplined to take these shots. And I would get hyped. I'll have my morning routine. I'll work out. Then I'll do my affirmations. And I'm like, okay, breakfast. Oh, crap. It's already 12 o'clock. I don't even know what happened. Right. And then I'm on this catch up mode rest of the afternoon. And I send out like 10, maybe 15 messages. As soon as like the first no comes back, I'm done with that strategy. That's literally what I did the first 2 years.
Guys, for example, when I first started out, we scaled the 65K a month just with referrals and cold email. Then I started doing paid ads and we ended up scaling to over $300,000 a month. But the very beginning, cold email didn't work. It didn't work until it worked. Because I kept taking action, then thinking and reevaluating and tweaking, then taking action, then thinking, then reevaluating, then taking more action. The problem, guys, is a lot of you are proactive. You're thinking about steps 8, 9, and 10 before taking step number 1. And at the very beginning, it's counterintuitive, but you have to be much more reactive. Does everyone know the difference between reactive and proactive? Reactive is when something happens and you're like, oh crap, what do I have to do? Proactive is when you're like, let me think about this. Okay, what should I do? The very beginning, you should try to actually push yourself to be in a reactive state as much as possible, where you're taking action. You're like, oh my God, what just happened? Let's fix it. Or let's do more of that. And it's extremely counterintuitive, but you have to lean into that.
Okay, I think that's enough for today. But
Wow.
yeah, that
I
is
like what he said. I like what he said right there. It reminds me of the OODA loop, right? Observe, orient, decide, act, and repeat. And you're constantly making adjustments.
act first. Go out and try and fail. And then adjust your strategy until it works.
Yeah, and we see this every day where people get in that pattern of learning everything and never implementing. We see that all the time, Christine, with people, meeting with people.
I'm implementing now, and it's uncomfortable as you know what.
And when I'm out on LinkedIn or you meet Gerry or Sharron messaging you, that's why we want to train ourselves to be more reactive and try something. And feel free to say no, please. That's fine. I'm perfectly fine. Don't feel bad. But we have a really great product. So does Sharron. And of course, we want to. I mean, it's like when you are with friends, you want to go to a movie. You know it's an amazing movie. You already seen it. You want your friend to see it too with you because it's so good you want to see it again. And what do? You go to your friends and, hey, that movie is awesome. You're getting all excited and you share and you tell her and you sell her on going to the movie with you. And she's glad to pay the $20 or whatever it is for the movie, goes with you, has a good time, maybe pays another $20 for popcorn and butter, and then says, wow, I'm glad you sold me to go to the movie. She doesn't say it that way, but that's exactly the process, right?
Right.
And we do nothing else. So feel free to say no. And same when their friends say, I don't feel like a movie today. And they say, okay, go to the other friend. Yeah. Ask the other friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
not
that was great, Christine. That was a great idea to watch that video and kind of pick it apart a little bit and break it down. I mean, he's doing an excellent job of explaining a lot of what we do on a daily basis. And I see a lot of alignment between his strategy and ours, which is pretty cool. I like it.
I really think that it's universal, right? And that's why we wanted to share it. And when I saw him, I said, he's a young man and he already figured it out. And it took me so long. And I started to go down the rabbit hole. I said, why me? Why did I not get figured that out early? I'm such a smarty. And then I said to myself, oh, just there's a next day, a next try. Don't keep don't stop trying. That's, I think, the most important thing in life.
Mhm.
Don't stop trying. There's somebody out there that needs exactly what you have to offer.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, there's billions of people out there, and you
Mhm.
have your audience may be unique. And that's why I said earlier, what you're doing isn't for everyone. So you can't feel bad when it's not the right fit. It's
That's the
just not
word
the
that
right
just came
person.
to me. Unique.
Unique.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're all unique. And I know, Sharon, you need to go see your sick mom. And I pray and hope that she'll be all right and you'll be all right. Everybody be safe. And
Thank you.
let's send you all off in peace. And
Yes.
I hope you go out there and try something today. Don't just learn. I was stuck in learning mode for much too long, and I think Gerry probably too. We try to learn everything before we get out and do it. Just do it and
Yeah.
fail and do it again. I mean, it's not like jumping from a cliff, right? What can happen? They say no to you. Oh, well, there's another
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
I think the best learning comes from doing. So you have to do something, right? Do something.
So let me wrap that up. Around this video, when we stream it, there will be a link. If you want to book a call with us, you can do it. And I know Sharon will be there, Gerry will be there. Somebody will talk to you and listen to what you want. And we'll try to give it to you if we can. And if not, that's fine. We'll part as friends. And I want to encourage you. And if you liked this video and you want to see more of it, let us know. That will encourage us to go on and share more of the good stuff that we are finding on the internet
Mm.
because there's a
Ab-
lot out there.
Absolutely. And join our community. It's free to join the community, and we'd love to hear from you and hear what your journey looks like. Everybody has their own journey, and we'd love to hear from others that are doing the same thing. We can all support each other and learn from each other. So, perfect way to do that. You come join us, really easy, and you can be here talking with us, sharing your thoughts and experiences as well.
Mm. We all have a story. It's great to share, great to learn. And I'm
Yes.
learning a lot from you guys. Thank you.
We're learning from each other. Have a wonderful rest of the day, everybody. Bye bye.